Hi everyone, welcome back, it's Dion here. Today's video I'm painting the Batman. In particular, it's the more 60s version of the Batsuit from the good old Adam West days. So one challenge of making this look more authentic to that era is the subtlety of the shadows and shapes of the body. Unlike the most recent suits like Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson, or even as early as Michael Keaton, with the more ripped looking physique, Adam West, however, was just a guy in what looked like a nylon suit. If anyone actually knows what the suit was made of, let me know in the comments. The real challenge in this painting is creating those subtle transitions of shadows where the contour of the muscle transitions from a highlight to a shadow. To do this, I'm lightly spraying a blue-grey as the base of the suit. I'm freehand spraying all of this, as I'm not concerned about the overspray, as I should be able to use that to my advantage later on. After the first layer, I then add a little more black to the paint mixture and start to darken the shadows. I need to be very careful not to overdo this. Too dark an area and I'll lose some of the form, such as around the abdomen and thighs. Too light and the image will look flat and not as three-dimensional. Without that three-dimensionality, the believability of the image is compromised. Where the overspray starts to hide the edges of the body, I'll go back over those with a black colour pencil, just lightly. As I work on the cape, I'm just using a watered down mixture of black, blue and red. It's just transparent enough for the highlighted areas underneath to be visible. Blocking in the colour like this allows me to see where I need to add more shadow or create more highlights. But I still need to be careful not to go too overboard with each, as they can make the image look too confusing, especially when I begin to add the background and surrounding atmosphere. The character and the background need to blend together, so subtlety is the key. But I can still give the impression that the cape has all these folds and creases as he flings it open, revealing the batarang in his left hand, which is almost in shadow. So there is a constant battle in thinking where to add more detail and where to reduce it to just make an impression of the cape. For the lighter areas of the cape, I'm using a processed cyan. I'm actually not doing a lot of colour mixing for this painting, as it's more of a quick demonstration of how easy it is to obtain these effects with a really simple palette. For the belt, I'm using an undiluted yellow as the base, then adding a little white for the highlights. By positioning the lighter yellow in the right positions, it creates the illusion of 3D and gives the surface a more metallic look. For the belt's shadows, I'm using a darker purplish grey. Too dark and the shapes can look too big and bulky, causing a distraction for the eye, something which I did overdo were the highlights on the cape and head. Without the background to use as a contrasting guide, I over-exaggerated the light hitting the more rounded surfaces, something which I think I've rectified in the final stage, so stick around to see the final result. As we get back into using the airbrush, let me know if you're enjoying the video so far with a like, and perhaps tell us who is your favourite version of Batman. There may even be a very obscure version out there that no one has ever heard of. The freehand spraying of transparent black allows those shadows to merge together nicely. The transition between the cape and the forms of the arms are retained in some areas but others lost, giving it a more realistic look to shading rather than the hard edges you might find in comics. Where the shadows begin, I'll use a grey pencil to harden the edges, as shadows tend to have a harder edge closer to the object they originate from, then diffuse out the further away they get from the base. Black pencil for deeper shadows gives me more control than the airbrush. By using the various tools at our disposal, it will make the work more enjoyable and give the desired effect. For the face, I'm not going to add too much detail. I'll keep it very simple, as the size of the image is so small. Too much detail will overcomplicate the image. I'm a big fan of detail, but I'm also realising with my own work, sometimes less detail can really benefit the work as you let the viewer's mind fill in the blanks. In particular, the subtle details around the abdomen and thighs, where the idea is to portray a more fit athletic look rather than a bulky muscular body type. This sells the idea that he is wearing more of a tight fabric rather than the sculpted rubber armour. To eliminate any overspray, I use a very opaque white ink and go around my image, tightening up those edges. This whole process only took about an hour in total, and then another hour to add the background. Once I felt the image was done, there was nothing left to do but sign it. This was my first time airbrushing a comic book character like this. I hope you found the process informative and useful to making your own art. Check out some of the links below for some free guides and courses I have, or check out my other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching and see you soon.